Nissan, we have the custom of doing Birkat Hailanot. The Shulchan Aruch in Siman Resh Chaf Vav, that's 216, discusses it. And the concept of Birkat Hailanot is after the winter, after the cold, the snow, and the bitter winter, the soil starts to grow. You have Chagab Aviv, you have the growth of something new, just like we were in slavery, it was dark, it was a winter, and the freedom coming out, and there's a connection there. And of course, Adam Etz Hasadeh, that the man is similar to a tree out in the field. Person has to improve, he has to be mithadesh, he has to bring new things into his life, the springtime, new. So as the spring comes, the Shulchan Aruch says, you go to trees that have some flowers that began to bud on them, and you say the beracha there, preferably 2 trees, if possible. The Ben Yehoyada, that's the Ben Ish Hai, the Ben Yosef Haim Ben Eliyahu from Baghdad. He brings down on the Gemara in Avodah Zarah, Daf Yud Zayin 17. It's brought down on Elazar ben Dordaya. So who was this Elazar ben Dordaya? He was an individual that the Gemara is not shy to tell us. He went to go visit all the homes of ill repute and all the different types of female activities and immoral activity all around his area, and he was very, very well known to it. He gets a stroke of making teshuvah from a comment, from something that happened, and he has a tremendous awakening. He decides he wants to make repentance, and he starts to ask forgiveness and help, mercy from the creations, from the biriot. He goes to trees, he goes to, the Gemara tells us, he goes to the mountains, the harim, the givaot, the valleys, and they say, no, we have to pray for ourselves. We can't pray for you. And so he's left to himself, and he makes a full repentance, and it gets accepted. A voice comes out from the heaven, and it says that he's mizuman, the hayya olam haba, he's invited, and the mefarshim bring down over there that meant that he's not going to have to go through any punishment. He's going to automatically go into the next world without any deen and any issues. And the Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi says on him, Yesh koneh olamo b'sha'a achat, someone can purchase his ticket to Olam Haba, the next world, in one moment, as this individual did, because he seemingly wasn't a person who had a life of Riley in Torah mitzvot. And then he says, Yesh koneh olamo b'shanim harbe, and he says other people took him many years. And there's a lot of depth into that statement. But, it's kind of funny, like, interesting. What's the Gemara telling us that he went to all the creation, and that he went to the harim, the givahot, the mountains, the valleys? So the Hazal tell us that the harim, the mountains, equal the avot, the Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov. They're the mountains, and the givahot, the valleys, those were the imahot, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. Okay. The Ben Ish Hai has a different spin on this. There's a rabbi called the Remez, Rabbi Moshe Zakuta. He lived in Italy like 300 years ago. He has a book called Shoshei Hashemot. And he brings down that the concept of teshuvah has to do with the name of one of the names of God. I'm going to tell you what he says quickly, and then we're going to go to another part. I don't want to get into this too much. But he says that the name of God, Yud Kei Vav Kei, can have different types of nikudot on the bottom. The way the nikudot are formed equal keter, chokhmah, binah, the different spheres that they can connect to. And one of them for teshuvah is when you have Yud Kei Vav Kei spelled out with the tzereh, which is 2 dots under each letter, and then under it the segol. That would be 3 under it. So there would be a total of 5 under each one of them. And in Gematria, every dot of the nikudot, if it's a dot, like a round circle, would be like, it's like a yud, and a yud is 10, so it would be 10. And so if you have 2 dots of the sereh under the yud kei vav kei, that would be 8 dots, that's 80. and then you have the segul, which is 3 dots under the 4. That's 12 would be 120, and then so 80 and 120 is 200. Plus Yud Kei Vav Kei is 26. That's 226. And he says that that's the name of God for having a focus in teshuvah, whatever that means, whatever that depth means. And he connects it, the remez, interesting, his name is remez, he connects the remez that this 226 is actually the connection to the siman in Shulchan Aruch, which is 226, which is discussing the Hailanot of saying it. Now, what's the connection there? Is that if you actually read the tefillah of the Birkat Hailanot, it's all talking about souls that got reincarnated in trees and in different things, and it's talking about all the neshamot and of repentance. And he says the main purpose of Birkat Hailanot, of the renewal of the spring of the season, is the renewal of a person to make teshuvah and to re-examine himself in the different season of how he is and how he was and how he wants to be. Just like a tree goes through seasons, and a tree goes through different times and events, some easier, some more difficult, some challenging, some more enjoyable, and then to evaluate that teshuvah. And that's Rabbi Moshe Zakuta. He brings it down there and he connects it there. But again, what's this hadim and givaot? So take a look at this divrei hachamim v'hidotam, how the rabbis put different secrets inside of the divrei hazal, of the Gemara. And so the Gemara tells us that he was under harim. If you look at the word harim, it's hey resh yud mem, and the gematria of that is 255. Givaot is gimel bet ayin vav tav, and that's the gematria 481. If you take 481 of Givaot minus the 255 of the harim, you get what? You get 226, which is Resh Chaf Vav, which is the Siman in Shulchan Aruch of the Birkat Hailanot. And this is maybe why, if you look in the Gemara, they suddenly refer to him as a Rabbi. Because if you look in the story, his name is Elazar ben Dordaya. His life history is not one that we put in the textbooks of one of a holy person. But we suddenly see at the end of his life, he's called Rabbi Elazar ben Dordaya. Did he suddenly get smicha? What did he do? Yoreh, Yadin. What happened that he suddenly gets this Rabbi? So what he really came is that he came to teach us an unbelievable concept. The concept of repentance that's accepted to the highest level. Here you had an individual that had nothing going for him. And through his innate ability of working on himself and making teshuvah, he suddenly reached the highest realm that, according to Hazal, he was mizunaman the hayal mabah, which means he had no deen, he went through no process, he went straight to Gan Eden. And he got all the bells and whistles and all the gifts through teshuvah. And to that, we give him a title of Rabbi. He taught us something. He taught us that the teshuvah, not only did we know that teshuvah works, he was an example of how it worked perfectly. And Rabbi Yehuda Nasi said, it's unbelievable. Look at this. Look at this guy. He went from one corner, one left wing location, all the way to, he's over on the front row. And it was unbelievable. To this, they called him Rabbi Elazar ben Dordaya, that teshuvah really works. And without, any deen, no yisurim, no problems, nothing. Boom. He died, he went right up. And this rabbi ends up going down in history as a rabbi that really did something unbelievable to us, that the teshuvah really works. And in the Chag of Pesach, which we're about to go in, we're going to say the different simanim, Kadesh, Urchatz, Karpas, and the Hazal have always told us that in order to go into the realm of teshuvah, Birkat Hailanot, teshuvah, we have to do sur merah v'aseh tov, like it says in Tehillim. Sur merah means stay away from bad, and then aseh tov, go to good. So how do you improve? Remove the evil first, and then focus on the good. That is the advice. But if you look at the simanim in Pesach that we're going to say in the Seder, it starts with Kadesh, and then Urchatz. Really, if it's sur merah, stay away from evil, then do first urchatz, wash off the bad, and then asetov kadesh, become holier. So why did it switch it? Why was it backwards here? Whoever had put together these, they said that whether it was Rashi or one of the earlier Chachamim that had done it. We could take a look at this maybe from the way the Gemara was organized. The Gemara and the Seder of Nashim has the Masechtot beginning with Nedarim. And then after Nedarim it goes to Nazir, and then it goes to Sotah. So Tosafot says the reason why Nazir is right after Nedarim is because they're both talk related. Nedarim is promises, that's speech related. Nazir is taking upon an oath not to be involved with grapes in any way, and the byproducts of grapes and wine and alcohol. So they're both speech related dibur, therefore they're both connected. But Rabbi Sadok HaKohen Milublin has a completely different look on it. He says if you look in the Torah has a completely opposite. The Torah has first the parasha of Sotah, and then it discusses the parasha of Nazir, just like the Gemara says, Kol haro'eh Sotah b'kidkula yazir atzmo min hayayin. Rashi brings it down, which means anyone who sees a Sotah lady and that whole entire episode of what happened with the husband and that whole situation, whoever sees that and has that glance physically with his eyes, he should become a Nazir, a minimum Nazir, 30 days, make it easy, go become a Nazir. That would have a good experience, and that's what the Chachamim did. So in the Torah it was Sotah, and then it went to the Nazir, but in the Gemara, in Seder Nashim, you have the Nazir first, and then Sotah. Why was it switched? And so the Rabbi Sadok HaKohen Milublin tells us that this was the cause of Yiridat HaDorot, that the generations had fallen, and had we taken the path of first the Sud Me'era and Aseh Tov, it would have been too hard. It may never have happened. So instead they said, no, first Aseh Tov, go become a Nazir. Then the Sud Me'era, stay away from the other one. And Rabbi Aharon Mebel says this was the whole argument of Nerot Hanukkah. This was the main component of what Shammai and Hillel were arguing. Shammai was saying, listen, you got to go from the high to the low. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hillel says no, 1, 2, 3, 4, and go up. What's the difference? Shammai says, listen, you got to first focus on Sud Me'era. You go from 8, you're going down. What are you going down? You're moving averot, less averot. So first you put the focus on Sud Me'era. Hillel was saying, yeah, we agree with that component. But in this time, where we are in this time in history, no, it's going to have to be first Aseh Tov and Sud Me'era, which is why he says Mosif v'holech. What do you mean Mosif? Mosif mitzvot. Mosif doing good, Mosif doing more, and holech, and work on that component. Maybe we can take a look at what is the teshuvah or the highest form of teshuvah that is necessary. So the Gemara tells us, Let anya mikalba velet atira mechazira. There is no poorer animal than the dog, and there's no richer than the pig. So what does that mean? So in Hebrew it's en ani mikelev en ashir mehazir. There's no poorer animal than the dog, and no richer than the hazir, than the pig. So what's the pshat, the simple interpretation is that the hazir, the pig, is always hanging out in the dirt. And the dirt is free. Whatever's in the garbage is free. So the hazir, he's always got supply. There's always plenty of dirt, there's always plenty of soil, there's always plenty of mud and garbage, and that's what it'll eat. So it's always rich. It doesn't have much to have to worry about. It's always got somewhere to go and something to eat. While the kelev has a little bit of a higher diet, has a little bit, it's a man's best friend in many different ways, and it's got a little bit of a higher stature. And so, you could see skinny dogs, and, because they're looking to eat food, and they're looking to eat what they like. Well, you'll always see a fat pig. And so that's the basis of it, that, you have en ani mikelev, en ashir mechazir. But the Gra, the Gaon Vilna, brings down that says actually it's much more than that. He says if you actually look around Klal Yisrael, even for those that are not observant, even those that are not Orthodox and very far, from Yahadut, from Yiddishkeit, from whatever you want to call it, from observance, they'll always stay away from a pig. You ask him, you say, listen, do you eat pigs? He says, nah. I said, what do you, am I goy? I don't eat pig. Who does that? The guy asked the guy, "You drive on Shabbat?" Yeah, the guy drives on Shabbat. He uses his phone on Yom Tov. The guy doesn't keep any mitzvot. But the other guy eat pig? No, that's his line. His line, he doesn't eat pig. And it's good. He's got some standard. So the pig there, is very important. In Klal Yisrael, it became one of those mitzvot, or those lavs, that became very, very valuable. While there's other mitzvot, what's another mitzvah? Another mitzvah that doesn't really have too much attention. That's the one of lashon hara, and the Gemara Pesachim Kuf Yud Tet tells us Kol HaMesapeh lashon hara ra'ui lashlicho laklavim, that whoever speaks lashon hara, it's tantamount and appropriate to throw them to the klavim, whatever that means, to throw them to the klavim. But that's what the Gemara is telling us. So it's comparing lashon hara to the kelev. And if you ask most people, and you look around, how many people are strict in the hilchot lashon hara or the chilut? Who even goes out of their way to learn these halachot, or to know the depth of these laws, which are pertinent on a day-to-day basis, pretty much in every situation, all the time. And so the halachot that are compared to the dog, which the Chachamim also bring down from Kabbalah, that those who speak lashon hara end up coming back as a Gilgul reincarnation as a dog. That's probably why there's so many, dogs all around. So this comparison to the dog and lashon hara, but it's not really a focused mitzvah, even though they're both equal. There's no difference between speaking lashon hara, which also is a lav, and eating a hazir. Guy ate hazir once, that's one lav. A guy speaks lashon hara 30 times in a day, it's 30 lavs. There's no real difference. While the mitzvah of the hazir became very rich in the eyes and the minds of Klal Yisrael. Everyone's very careful. No one touches the pig. Came to the dog, which is the lashon hara. Nobody cared too much about it. It became very ani, it became very poor. And the Gaon of Vilna says this is the main component of teshuvah, and especially of the holiday of Nissan, which is why you're doing the Birkat Hailanot now, teshuvah, because the whole month Nissan and Pesach, it comes from the villain in the whole holiday, which was Paro. And Paro is spelled Peiresh Ayin Hey, which you can boggle as Pera, a bad mouth. That his essence and his core was the evilness of his mouth. While we have the holiday of Pesach, which is Pe, a mouth, that is Sach, which means speak, that we speak the positive, and the positive annuls the negative. That's why you'll notice that on the holiday, the first 2 nights, you eat an egg. Egg is round. The matzah is round, all like the mouth. The mouth opened is round. All these components are all tying into the mouth. That's why, what's the main point of the holiday? Magid. You're selling over with your mouth. You're speaking good. You're doing all the holidays. It's the only night of the year that with your mouth you say Hallel. You're saying thanks. And so the ikar of the teshuvah of Yahadut today in our generation is lashon hara and rechilut. That is the main thing, and that's why it's brought down. It's a tremendous segula for pretty much ashirut, parnasa, shalom, shalom bayit, success, happiness. Pretty much anything you want on your list is to learn the halachot and the sefer of the Hafetz Haim lashon hara. I actually don't recommend people to learn the sefer in Hebrew if you don't know Hebrew well. If you don't have the knowledge in Hebrew, I would recommend best to get one of the English cliff notes, like you would call them, the abridged versions, which lists for you the questions, answers, situations. It's much simpler, it's much easier. You could read the book in a couple of days, you can review it, and you have all the halachot in a very, very abridged version. And maybe if we focused enough on this main mitzvah, this lav, what the Chachamim had always said, b'Nisan nigalu u'b'Nisan atidim l'higa'el. Shavua tov.